now we've talked about punching. We've talked about the hands, the arms, keeping your shoulders out of here. Where do you punch? We talked a little about this area, but a lot of things happen in football. If I go to punch him, but he's a spinner, I've got to be able to rotate my hands and spin. I can't let him spin and just hang on to him when he tries to spin. That's holding. Anytime you see an abnormal movement of the defender, if he's falling down backwards like this, or if he's in front of me and I'm pulling him down like that, that's holding. Or officials may even call any type of seeing this kind of cloth being pulled separated from his body. And what you have to do is you have to understand what the target area is. And the target area in the running game and the passing game is this area right here. If I were to take a line, a big orange line, and paint it right around this area, and keep walking around with me, Dave, all the way to this back, right here, all the way here to the target area, that's what I'm looking at. At the end of the ball game, we go shake hands and say, hey, we had a tough game, but you know, we worked hard and we played well. I wouldn't even know what Dave looks like because my whole focus on the game is this target area. I'd know number 63. I wouldn't know anything else because I've been watching that target so closely. As soon as you start watching the defender's head or even up in the high shoulder area, he gives you that head fake, you're in trouble. So make sure you're focused in this target area in all aspects of the running and the passing game. All right, so far in the video, we've talked about hand placement. We talked about the target. We've talked about locking out. We've talked about how to move on the football field. But the first thing you got to start with in football is how in the world do you get out of your football stance? And that's what we're going to talk about now. In offensive pass blocking, there are two stances, obviously, the three-point stance and the two-point stance. We're going to start out with the three-point stance. In the three-point stance, it's very important that you've got the ability to run block out of it and pass block. You can't give away your football stance. It's got to be a balanced set. You'll see defenders, and you know everything in the world that they're rushing upfield because they're in a three-point stance with their butts high. They're rushing the pass rusher. What we got to do as offensive people, especially in 1st and 10 and 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 5, whatever, you can't give away your stance as a puller, as a trapper, as a pass blocker, as a run blocker. So it's important that we don't give away our football stance. And what I mean by that, and I'm an ex-left guard, left tackle, you want to start off in a proper foot position. And we'll break this down again, starting with the feet and working our ways up to the shoulders and finally the head and hands. Now, the heel-toe relationship. I like to coach that this toe matches up with that end of the ball of your foot. And this is your balanced stance. And your shoulders, your feet should be not much beyond your shoulders or shoulder width. The wider you get your stance, it's more difficult to kick out of, to step out of, the pass set, the kick step, the power step, and you end up taking a false step. What I'd like to see doing is take a natural stance that I can move out of very easily. Okay, out of this stance, I want to get good and balanced. You've got to have good ankle, knee, and hip flexion. That's a lot of things what coaches look for, those three aspects. From this position, I want to be able to put my hand down. Now, everybody knows in the world, if I'm sitting back on my heels, I'm pass blocking, or if I'm white knuckled, I'm run blocking. So from this stance here, I want to be balanced, heel-toe relationship. I like to put this hand down here. And this is a balanced offensive stance. Come on over here, Yogi, and show him a balanced stance. Yogi's a left tackle. You can see, I like to get him a little flat back, a little bit more deeper in your stance. There you go, head up, head's got to be up. You've got to be able to have your head up to see what's happening in the defensive front. Anything stemming, a linebacker coming in the B gap or the A gap, he's got to be aware of that and be able to see it in the stance. He's up on his fingertips. You can see how he's using the fingertips, getting a little bit more distance. He's got the toe-heel relationship. He's got the hand right down here on his knee, ready to snap up and get into action. This is a basic three-point stance that you can pass block out of. We've discussed the three-point stance. Let's go take a look now at the two-point stance. The two-point stance is something that's obvious. We're 3rd and 10. We're passing the football. They know we're passing. We know we're passing. Everybody in the stadium knows we're passing the football. So in that two-point stance, I want to get in a position with this basically the same heel-toe relationship. Some guys like to kick back and face here. A lot of it's based on technique and what the tackle or guard feels good about. In this position here, I want to be able to put my hands, but I don't want to rest the weight on my hands, because if I rest the weight in my hands, I've got to change momentum and push off my hands. That slows me down a hair second. What I want to be able to do is get in that 2-point stance. I want to be in a position I'm set. I'm not putting weight in my hands. I'm nice and light because my hands are light because these are my weapons. My weapons got to be on the hip. I got to draw them quick. If I got heavy hands, I'm slow in my stance. The key thing about a 2-point or 3-point stance is that I got to get out of my stance, show the numbers as quick as possible. The quicker I'm out of my stance, the quicker I buy my time to read what the defender's actually doing. If he's putting a head move on, using his hands, rushing upfield, cutting inside, the quicker I can do that, the quicker I get a read on him, the quicker I can react and get in front of him and pass protect. If I'm slow out of my stance, I'm meeting him and I'm not showing my numbers yet, I'm not ready, I don't have my feet set, he's hitting me and he's knocking me back or beating me on some kind of a move. Once you're in a 3-point or 2-point stance, I like to get a read on the defender. A lot of times, if you're in a 2-point stance and you know you're passing the football, they know, look at your target. And we talked about the target area earlier being in this kind of area. Look at your target. If not, you've got to keep your head in a position where you're not giving away that you're pass blocking or who you're blocking to. But get a chance to get as much as you can. I call this a pre-snap cue. And in a pre-snap cue, you take a look at your defender and try to understand what he's going to do. If he's going to rush upfield, if he's tightening his stance, he's going to make inside move. If he's in a tighter position, getting ready to make an inside move, or if he's really wide, looking like he's just going to try a speed move upfield. These are pre-snap cues, and those are things you understand as you get a chance to play the game and know the guy that you're blocking against. Here we have Dave in a 2-point stance. This situation is representing a 3rd and 10 situation where he knows he's passing the football, he's looking at the defender, he knows he's rushing the passer, and the people in the stands know we're throwing the football. He's in a ready position. Dave's light in the hands here. He's ready to come off the hands. You can see he's light in the hands. He's got his target locked already. He's in a position where at the snap of the ball, he's trying to beat him back, and we'll get into coming out of our stance here in a bit. But this is what you want to look like. Now, a 3-point stance, getting a 3-point stance situation. This is to represent 1st and 10. Now in a 1st and 10, we don't want to give away we're pass blocking, so we're looking straight ahead. You've got in a position here where he can run block, he can pass block, he can come out of his stance, he can do anything. If he was to lift his hand, he wouldn't fall forward. See, he's in a balanced stance. And this is the kind of position you got to assume in a 1st and 10. What we have here is we have Dave now in a 2-point stance. He plays left tackle, and what he's doing right now is Dave, you can see his head is looking at his target area. He's light on the hands, and he's in a position ready to kick out relative to the outside. We call this a 5 position. All right, here we have Dave. Now he's in a 3-point stance, and what he's doing, you can see his head. Say, Dave, it's 1st and 10, we're passing the football. Let's put your head straight. All right, Dave's keeping his head straight now. You can see his head from that angle being straight. He's not giving away who he's pass blocking to. He's got a stance right now where he can run block, he can pass block, he can pull, he can do anything out of. So this is a 1st and 10 passing situation. He's not giving away the stance. We've talked about initially an inside set. Now we're talking about a 3 technique, and it's a little bit of a kick step. So from the 3 technique, he's playing in an outside position. I want to be able to set out to him to a relative position. I want to be able to slightly kick the base, keep my relative position, and be ready for contact football. Down, set, hut. There you go. Down, set, hut. The 2 technique, or where the defender is aligned directly over the guard, is a bit of a gray area. The defender has the ability to come inside or has the ability to come outside. So an offensive guard has to be really concerned primarily about his inside position and about keeping his relative position. Based on the quarterback drop, and we're talking primarily about a firm drop, which is 5 steps, I like to take the guard and have him set slightly inside, transfer the weight to the inside leg, and cut off, or be in a position to cut off that inside position while still being square enough and still being in a position where if he steps inside and goes outside, or makes a mad rush to the outside to the B gap, I can still square up and stay square and make contact with him without what's called opening up the gate. This is what I call opening up the gate. where I have to open up and bail. That's something we really don't want. What we were trying to do is always stay square with the defender. From this position here, if they was to be in a 2 technique and make an inside position, I want to take away the inside, slight step inside, tilt my head a little bit inside, keeping the weight in the inside leg, and think consciously of striking hard with the inside hand to cut that off. Because if I'm soft with the inside hand, I'm like this, it's opening a position to the inside. I want to be able to strike hard with the inside hand, cut that off, and shut it down right here before you can get too far beyond the line of scrimmage. Okay, here we go. Inside move from the 2 line. Down, set, hut. You can see there I just punch with the inside hand because I'm emphasizing using the inside hand. Let's try it one more time. Down, set, hut. The important thing to do while pass blocking is trying to keep your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. And this is for a variety of reasons. 1, if I ever get turned, I'm opening a lane to the quarterback. 2, if I ever want to switch with the center, or if we have a left tackle out here, I'm in trouble because I'm turned and he can't initiate the switch. So those are 2 real reasons why you always want to try and keep your shoulders square when pass blocking. And it also gives the quarterback clean lanes so he can see him through. If we got 2 guys like this on the line of scrimmage, it's very difficult for the quarterback to see for the quarterback to make his reads.